So we are live for the very first official live video of the Republic of Arsenal. So I have two special guests with me here today. I have Joel. So Joel, how are you doing?
Not too bad, mate. Thanks for having me on.
No problem at all. And Russ, how's things, Russ?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Thank you for inviting me on.
Yeah, no problem. I had to have the pair of you as my first guests. I was talking to Joel a little bit just before we started, and I was just saying, I'm not doing this very long. I don't really know a lot of people at the moment in the kind of online Arsenal community, but yourself, both of you have been really welcoming, have reached out to me, as a lot of people have. So, you've shown a lot of support. So I said I have to have the two of you on, definitely, if not the first, one of the first show. So absolutely delighted that you're my first official guest.
Privileged.
Privilege, yeah.
Yeah, look, before we get into the football, how's the lockdown treating you both? You staying sane? Just the kids running around?
Homeschooling's a nightmare, mate. It's brutal. You're trying to do your own work, and then trying to do other bits and pieces, and it's just mad.
Yeah, 100%.
And you're just sort of stuck in the same four walls all the time. It's just it's brutal.
Yeah,
it's kind of that moment where you're working from home, but you shut the laptop, and then you realise that there's no sort of difference between home and work at the moment. There's no sort of travel home or anything. So
yeah, the only good thing is you sort of get out of bed and you could just sort of turn your laptop on and start working. That's the only good thing about it.
That's it. Yeah, 100%. So big shout out, Mr. Arsenal Podcast is with us.
Right.
Gary, and believe it or not, Gary, I found some new friends. I found.
Here we go. We're going to be picked up all night.
We're going to have plenty of questions, I'm sure now.
Gary's amazing. I love Gary.
And Enda, big shout out to Enda. So look, we'll just jump straight into it. The game last night, Arsenal, another win, 3-1 against Southampton. That leaves us now unbeaten in 6 Premier League games, 5 wins, a draw against Crystal Palace. The last 8 games, we've got 6 wins if you take into account the FA Cup. We're on an absolute roll. I'll start with Russ. What would you put the turn of fortune down to? Has Arteta found a secret recipe, or do you think it's more a bit of luck that he's had no choice, he's had to use some of the kids and it's just clicking for him?
I think that's the case, mate. It was just a case he had to play Emil Smith-Rowe eventually, and it's just sort of worked out for him. I mean, the turn of form since sort of Boxing Day really has just been immense. We beat Chelsea, and that was the start of a nice little run for us, really. I was a bit gutted that we sort of changed it up for the FA Cup and obviously lost that game. Because I love the FA Cup. I'm an Arsenal fan. I love it. But I know he rotated, and obviously it was vindicated by winning yesterday. But I think we've been a bit unlucky also because Thomas Partey wasn't available for a long time, so we were relying on El Neni, Xhaka, and Ceballos, and just Smith-Rowe and Saka has just come into some amazing form. He's the player of the season so far. I know obviously we've lost sort of Aubameyang for the past couple of games, and hopefully he should be back. He might be back for the Man United game, but we don't know. But Xhaka or even Pepe was played last night on left wing. He did really well. I mean, I don't think losing Aubameyang is really a big deal, but I think it's a little bit of luck, and it's just he was forced to play Emil Smith-Rowe, and it's just worked.
Yeah, 100%. Like Smith-Rowe, he's a guy I'm sure many Arsenal fans have known about for a long time. I actually went to see Unai Emery just before when he first took over at Arsenal. Arsenal came over to Dublin and played a friendly against Chelsea. And there was 2 players on the night that caught my eye in that game, 2 young players. And one was for Chelsea, was Callum Hudson-Odoi. He just gave Bellerin an absolutely horrible night. And the other guy was Emil Smith-Rowe. And you could see there and then, like, this kid has something special, and Joel, I'm sure you'd agree the link up with the young players, the understanding they seem to have, the Hale boys coming through the academy together. You can see they're on a different level. They've a different understanding, like Saka and Smith Rowe, and that they just completely know what the other guy is going to do.
Yeah, they just seem to have that link, don't they? And like you say, they've got this telepathic way of knowing what each other are going to do, and it seems to have brought Lacazette to life as well. Really, that's kind of been the saving grace for him, having that. And when Martinelli sort of is going to be integrated back in, you couldn't have three better youngsters around you. And they probably look at Lacazette in the same way. What a striker to have in front of you when you're starting. Well, I say starting the game, but you're sort of coming into the team as a big starter now, aren't you? So yeah, I just think it's. I think it's friend. I think. I think it's exciting times when you look at some of the youngsters now. Like, we say youngsters, but they've been with the squad for how long now? It's like they've been hanging about for a while. And when you start looking at, say, your Nelson and people like that, you start to think, has your time run out? These have come in and they've hit the ground running. And where do you find yourself now? You've got to up the game again, haven't they? So
100%. You can see the level has gone up again with the young lads. Like you said, Nelson and that, I think he was the guy that everyone was talking about was going to be the next big thing to come out of our youth academy. Hasn't really kicked on.
Well, he's had good loan moves, hasn't he? And you put him in an England shirt and he seems to do it, but you stick him in an Arsenal one and he just seems lost, doesn't he? He's, and yet we've got a Balogun. I won't go on about it too much, but we've got a Balogun sitting there.
Nketiah is a weird.
Isn't he, when he plays? So.
Yeah. Look, while we're on the topic of Balogun, I guess we might as well go into it a little bit because it causes a lot of debate. It's a dangerous one, but it's probably going to help us fill up this chat box a bit. The like of Balogun and that. My fear with Balogun is, okay, people are really hyping Balogun, and rightfully so. I mean, if you go off the clips, the video, the little bits and pieces, little snippets that we have, the highlights, he looks good. He looks the part. I can completely see why people are getting excited about him. My only fear is, I think to a certain extent, we were getting excited almost in the same way about Eddie Nketiah when he was coming through, because he was the guy who was breaking the goal scoring records. He was the guy in the youth team everyone was calling for. He was the guy people were saying, well, Lacazette's not doing it. Like, Nketiah should be in there. So, what do you do if an offer comes in? Do you commit to Balogun? Do you put all your eggs in the Balogun basket, or does Nketiah still have a future?
Well, it's a difficult one, isn't it? We've spoken about it before, haven't we, Russ? In other stuff. Nketiah, in my view, if someone turned around and went 25, 30 million, like we were told, I think with West Ham, wasn't it? You'd think, oh yeah, I'll take 25, 30 million for Nketiah any day.
I'll take 15 for him.
Who do you bring in? Because you don't want to risk it all on Balogun. You'd have to bring someone else in my opinion, someone more experienced.
Well, look, it's not a bad deal, like not every player that comes through the academy can make it as a first team regular at Arsenal. Some of these guys will have to come through, get their minutes in order to be sold on, so we can make money. Maybe that's going to be the end game for Nketiah. Maybe that's going to be Reece Nelson, Joe Willock. They can't all make it. For every 10 youth players that come through, you'd be lucky to get one that's like Bukayo Saka. Now, we've got Bukayo Saka and Smith Rowe, so we're being spoiled at the moment. But like that, Balogun, hopefully, if he decides to commit and stay, he could be the next. But again, this is just my feeling is this is why I try not to get overhyped. I try not to get overexcited. If he walks in the morning, he walks. At some point, we'll probably bring someone else through who's gonna, carry the same kind of hype and expectation behind him, the way, as I said, Nketiah did, and now it's Balogun. Could be Tyrese John Jules, who we still have out on loan at Doncaster. So there are options, and it's definitely it's promising signs anyway that we are producing so many, potential first team players. And as I said, they might not necessarily be first team players for Arsenal, but if we can move them on, get a couple of quid out of them, it pays for the likes of your Thomas Partys and, Buendia or whoever we decide to go for. So I'll jump into the chat here now just to see have we any questions.
Because we've got a few defenders as well, haven't we? Isn't it Ballard and McGuinness, who are sort of the two sort of standout?
Yeah, McGuinness is off Ipswich, isn't he? He's doing well out there.
Yeah.
He's carrying the Irish flag for us. And we still have Zach Medley still knocking about somewhere, isn't he?
Not sure about Medley, to be honest. I think so.
I think he might be out on loan somewhere. So he's another.
He's on loan at Gillingham.
Yeah. So he's still there. But look, gone way off topic, and I have to do that. So you just have to bear with me. That's what I do. When something comes into my mind, like if I see something shiny, I'm distracted. So anything in the chat is going to easily throw me off course. So I'll try bring it back to the Southampton performance. But one thing I noticed from the Southampton performance, I don't know if you'll agree with me on this one, but I just feel like the intensity was there last night as opposed to the FA Cup game. And I feel like Southampton play with such a dangerous high press. To me, Arsenal just matched them at their own game. So would you agree, we kind of played them at their own game, high tempo, high pressure, high press. We had our fullbacks moving up the field. It was just a different Arsenal altogether last night.
Oh, I think Southampton lost both of their fullbacks as well, didn't they? Bertrand wasn't playing, and then the guy on the other side wasn't playing either. It just shows you that with Emil Smith-Rowe in the side, we just look completely different. And obviously, Partey started, and it was just completely different game with the completely different mentality, basically.
Yeah. And to be fair, Cedric as well. Cedric was superb. To be fair, that ball that he put, was amazing. To be honest,
I mean, he was awful at the weekend.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? It's almost like it's a case of what are you going to get? But he's had more on games than off, so we kind of and that's not his natural position either, is it? So you kind of. I'd rather have him there than Maitland Niles.
Would you say Cedric at the moment is showing enough that you might not prioritise a left back in this transfer window now as backup? Would you be happy enough maybe to run with Cedric as your backup left back?
I think they will until the summer. I think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, one game's not good enough for me, really, to be honest.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when there's a window shut in a couple of days' time, they've got to make a decision what they're going to do. I mean, they let Kolasinac go, and they didn't sort of replace him with anyone. So, I mean, Ainsley Maitland-Niles has played out there. He's been shocking this season, pretty much. Cedric was bad at the weekend, but he was very good last night. But I don't know. That's really on the club, really. I mean, I would get a left back in.
Yeah, I definitely think going forward long term, it's such an important part of the pitch for us. You can see when Tierney's not there, we just look a different side altogether. If you even think back to when Emery was there, I noticed we went through a period of time where Kolasinac was one of our more attacking outlets. As mad as that sounds, he actually became really important for us going forward. So it'll just show you how kind of reliant we are on one side of the pitch. I noticed last night as well, something I've been suggesting for a while, and maybe people have called me kind of crazy. Nicolas Pepe, he's been playing on the right-hand side, And I think most of us have got the breaking point with Pepe. And I just said it to a couple of the guys the other day. I said, look, it sounds stupid and straightforward, but why not just play him on the left? You know, why not eliminate this, you know, having to take the ball on the right hand side, having to cut inside, beat the man, curl the ball in, top corner. It's just not happening for him. Why not just stick him out left, play more direct, run down the line, swing the ball in? We saw a bit of it last night, and you know, early signs. I've seen a few positives there.
Yeah, I think he worked a lot harder. Certainly, I think he worked a lot harder than you know previous games. But you know, I have to give him credit. Albert's been banging on about putting Pepe on the left for ages, and you know, it just showed, didn't it? He was more comfortable. You know, Saka, I think he just loves playing for Arsenal. I think if you say play here, he'll play there. He's one of those kids. You know, he even said it in the interview at the end of the game. I just love playing for Arsenal. And to hear that, you think, oh, we've got this kid long term. You know, he wants to be here, and he's in it. You know, his heart's in it. So, yeah. Pepe, you got to give him his due for yesterday. I'll give him a pat on the back, but we'll see how he gets on. You know, against someone like Man United, will he get picked? That's the big question. So,
yeah. Well, look, it's like I said, it was positive signs last night, but it's about finding consistency with Pepe. Russ, I don't know. Again, I stick with Pepe, but again, I've been saying for a while, I don't feel like Pepe has really got an actual run in the team. Like, it feels to me as though he comes in, he gets taken back out. Okay, he goes in, he has a bad game, maybe 2 bad games. He seems to disappear again. Like, could it be just he needs a good run in the team? You know, he needs. He strikes me.
He needs time. That's it.
Well, I know that the argument is how much time do you give him? He's had time, but has he had an actual, you know, solid run in the side yet?
I'll tell you now, you will get to know Russ, and that is his classic line. He'll just go, I need time. He loves it.
Well, the problem is you can't really assess the guy really, because if he has 5 games and then he's dropped and then someone else is brought in, and you stick him out on the right at Lille, he was the team. The forward line was more or less sort of built around him, so he had his defined role, and he was playing on the left, drifting in and sort of playing as a number 9 up front.
Yeah.
At Arsenal, he's not allowed to do that. Now, I don't know whether that's just Arteta being rigid in his tactics or his system. He's not allowing Pepe to do what comes naturally to him, and I think that's the big issue for me. If Pepe was, if Arteta asked Pepe, so right, today I'm going to put you in the position you want to be in, and I'll let you do what you want, and Pepe might get a consistent run of games, because if he plays on the left wing generally, but we've got our captain plays on left wing at the moment, so unfortunately Pepe's not going to play there unless he's forced to, which at the moment he is. I mean, as I said, I don't know if Aubameyang will be back for the weekend, but Pepe did play last night, and there's a good chance that he could play on against Man United. I really think that.
Yeah. I think the big part of the problem with Pepe is when he's on form. Okay, he can create moments of absolute brilliance. You know, he can nutmeg a guy. He can, you know, skin his man, bang it in top corner. It's the simple things he seems to struggle with, though. Just the basics. So that's why my argument was, if you maybe stick him on the left hand side, he has to do more basic work. Just be a bit more direct, like old school winger. You know, cut out the expectation of having to, you know, round the man, cut in field and all. He just, to me, for a guy who cost 72 million, he doesn't have that kind of that swag of a guy. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't carry himself like a big money player. He seems seriously confidence orientated in his play, and like I said, I just feel like if you can't get a run in the team, it's very hard to build that confidence. So Pepe
and also Lille, they played a counter-attacking way of playing. That was the way they played, sort of counter attack. Arsenal don't play like that. So yeah, I mean it's unfortunate, but he hasn't helped himself. Don't get me wrong. He hasn't adapted to what he should have done. Obviously, if he's not a right winger, he's not a right winger. If he's a left winger cutting in on the right foot, then yeah, play him there.
Let's be honest though, the majority of games that you end up playing, and you've got Willian as your support, which is let's be honest, the majority of the games that Pepe plays, he's got Willian in the team because the games he plays are either cup games or Europa games, and that's the games that Willian plays as well. You just think that's my support, and yet when you see Pepe having the likes of Emile Smith-Rowe and Saka with him, he seems to play better football. So I don't know. Maybe it is that competitive thing around him, and that knowing that he's got someone that's playing at a decent level next to him. Because let's be honest, Willian hasn't cut it, has he? There's even in the game the other day when he came on, we thought, Pepe's doing it. We've now got Willian on. Come on, show us something. Show us something like Pepe has, and
well, Willian's another debate altogether, isn't he? Unfortunately, and
we probably need another half hour just on Willian alone. But hey, look, we may as well stick on the topic of controversial players. Granit Xhaka, he did all right again last night, and as another guy I've been seriously critical of in the past, but the last couple of weeks I can't fault the guy, and last night again he was really, really good. Xhaka, what do you think? Himself and Partey, is it going to work?
Russ?
Unfortunately, but Xhaka will play no matter what happens. He's pretty much the first name on the team sheet. It's who you play with him, and Partey is probably the only one he can actually play with properly. You know what I mean? And then he's just too slow, and he's not. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's quicker than Xhaka is, and he's a little more dynamic. But as Ceballos as well, he just doesn't cut the mustard for me either. I think we've got to move on from all three of them eventually. Like in the summer, we just got to cut our losses to say bye to all of them. Partey's one part of the puzzle. We just need someone in beside him who could sort of. I don't know whether you need another box-to-box midfielder. I'm not sure, but you just need someone who's got a bit more about them than Xhaka and El Neni and Ceballos.
Yeah. Well, what's your with Odegaard? Do you think Arteta will he have the balls to go with maybe Odegaard and Smith-Rowe playing ahead of Thomas Partey?
Don't think so. I think you can there's only one room for one number 10 really. I mean, Emile Smith-Rowe, I mean, he came off last night because he got a slight knock. I mean, he's still a young lad. So, I mean, they're going to rotate him and Odegaard. I mean, even Odegaard can even play on the right wing, apparently. So, that's even more bad news for Pepe and Willian, really. So,
Willian
especially, hopefully.
Who do you play against Man United, really? That's the thing. Do you play the new lad that's come in the door?
No.
Because no one's going to have a clue how to play against him. Or do you give Emile Smith-Rowe the run out and say we're gonna go with what we know because it's working, and then bring him on to give him some minutes? You know what I mean? Give him like that. I
don't think Odegaard's going to be match fit. You can't just throw him in a game against Man United, especially when Arsenal's home form isn't amazing. We tend to play better away from home anyway. I wouldn't throw Odegaard in straight away. I would, if we're winning 3-4-0, bring him on for 15 minutes or so at the end. But no, I wouldn't start him. No way. I don't think Arteta will either.
Yeah, he's going to need a bit of time. He got a couple of training sessions in. Get to know the players he's going to be playing with, to gel with, get to know the system, especially with Arteta. Arteta seems to, so we're led to believe he has a system. As you can see, not a lot of guys can follow it properly. So it's definitely going to be one of those. I don't think we can expect them to just jump in and go, you know. But look, United still losing, so it's looking good. So does Aubameyang start against United? Will he be fit? Is he still training?
I don't know. I don't think anyone can sort of tell.
I think
Sorry,
he came
Joel.
back today. According to the sort of letter he put on, didn't he, on Twitter, that he's come back today. But yeah, it's a difficult one. You know, Martinelli's going to be fighting for a place, isn't he? But at the same time, you don't want to risk him getting a knock again either. So
yeah, Martinelli's going to be a substitute for the foreseeable future. I can't see him starting many games. It just depends if Alba makes himself available. If he just says, "Yeah, I will play," then he'll play. There's no other.
yeah.
Arteta will play him if he says, "I'll play." So yeah.
I guess the other problem you have as well is kind of going back to Pepe and this whole confidence thing. After having a good performance the other night and got himself on the score sheet, Aubameyang comes back. Like, do you drop Pepe? Not destroy him all over again. Do you know what I mean?
It's killer.
He takes a step forward and then 3 steps back.
Like Russ was saying, it's going to happen because, you know, Arteta said, no one is undroppable, I think was his words, wasn't it? And yet, you know, that was the only player he wouldn't drop was Aubameyang. So
and Xhaka.
Yeah. And it's kind of like you just know that the front, in my opinion, that front four, if you like, will be Aubameyang on the left, Saka on the right, Laka in the middle, Smith Rowe behind him. I think he has to go with that 4. You know.
Yeah, well, I think he'd be
definitely another one.
Too many.
Another one. You can't. Yeah, you can't keep bringing him on. You know, with 10 minutes to go and expect him to score. You know.
No.
Yeah. Exactly. Big shout out to Ray, Arsenal fan circle. To say hello.
All right, mate.
Yeah, I do have friends. I have a couple of friends.
It's on his lunch break.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There's a shout out in the chat between ourselves. Laka better in big games and we play better with him. Again, that comes back to like we said earlier. He seems to have that kind of understanding with the young players. Maybe it's because he featured more regularly in the Europa League with the guys. Maybe he has that slight understanding. But he almost seems to, if you listen to some of the interviews, I listened to Smith Rowe recently enough. I think it was after the Newcastle game. And they sort of asked him, you know, who's the player that's been helping you the most? And he said Lacazette. It almost feels like now on the pitch, Lacazette is kind of taking on the sort of an unofficial captain role, you know, which is good. That's what you want to see. That's what you want to see from the more experienced guys. Definitely, like that's been an argument of mine in the past when it came to Aubameyang. Okay, like he's on paper he's your best player. We saw what he did last season. He carried us. Okay, this season it just hasn't quite happened for him. It got to a stage where you're saying, okay, he's not performing on the pitch, but at the same time, can you drop your captain? Now, the type of captain he is, I think, yeah, you can drop him because it's not like a captain, say Jordan Henderson at Liverpool, might not be the best performer, but he's kind of the glue that holds it together at times. Aubameyang doesn't even give you that. You know, he's not really the leader. If he's not scoring, he's not leading in a sense. So I definitely think he's, in terms of performances not being there, I don't think he's like undroppable as the captain.
No, Alba's definitely a lead by example captain. If he doesn't do that, he offers very little. I mean, he can be isolated for much of the game, and obviously, it only takes a minute to score a goal, doesn't it? I mean, if he scores, he's fine, he's smiling, but if he's not smiling, he's not contributing at all.
Yeah, 100%. And again, look, that's coming back to Granit Xhaka again. It's one of the things I've kind of always said. Okay, he's a different kind of a leader. He's not so much a lead by example, by performance, but you can see even when he's not playing well, he's talking to guys, he's trying to organise, players and positions. He's talking the whole time. Now at times you're kind of thinking you should probably do less talking and a bit more playing yourself. I think he's the type of player, maybe less responsibility on his shoulders, as in if he doesn't have that captain's armband on, I think he's a better leader on the pitch without actually being the leader. And I definitely think now having Partey beside him, I think is going to help, because it might kind of ease the workload on him a little bit, let him focus a bit more. And I guess Granit Xhaka that has less to concentrate on, in theory, is going to be a better Granit Xhaka. And I think maybe Aubameyang's the same. I don't think the pressure of that captain's armband suits Aubameyang.
No.
I think the pressure was on him, because I think in his mind he said that his dad was captain of his club and of his country, and I think Aubameyang's got that same thing in his mind. It's like, right, so I'm going to be captain of the club and captain of my country. So it's trying to follow in the family, footsteps, isn't it? But
yeah, lots of pressure.
Yeah, it's unfortunate you just make it. Unfortunately for us, it's Arteta's just made his best player the captain, which I don't think that's ideal. I don't think just because he is he's on the most wages, he's your best player. That doesn't necessarily mean you're a good captain.
I think that's been almost a tactic of ours in the past. If there's a hint of a player maybe about to leave the club, Thierry Henry, Fabregas, even Van Persie, just throw him the captain's armband. You might get an extra season or so out. I actually left the sound on there, so I presume there was a goal. I presume you all heard that there.
Oh, bugger.
Why did you leave the sound on?
Yeah, I know. I wish I hadn't.
You'll get banned.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, that's disappointing.
There are other betting companies available as well.
Yeah. Can one of them sponsor us, please?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
There's a good question there. Would you sell Lacazette in the summer, let him run down his contract, or offer him a 1-year extension? It's a tough one.
It all comes down to money again, doesn't it? How much comes in the door?
Yeah.
Well,
if someone says £45 million for him, take it.
How much do you reckon?
45, 50, maybe.
Do you think that would come in the door for him, though?
Well, the transfer market at the moment is completely flat and bottomed out, hasn't it? There's not many clubs abroad that have a lot of money, so I don't know.
We pretty much linked him from the grasp of Atletico Madrid, didn't we? So,
I mean, it's going to be hard. It is hard. It's just say, if he doesn't want to sign a contract, just get rid of him. You have to. We can't do this anymore. We can't let players run down the contracts anymore.
Yeah, we've lost an awful lot of money in the past. Players, leaving on free transfers, and now we're at the stage where we're terminating contracts and not even letting them run down the contract.
Because how old is he going to be? He's going to be 30, isn't he? By then. So we're pretty much. If someone came in and said we're going to offer you 40 million, bang, gone. I wouldn't, and it would be thank you for your service, because I really like Laka.
I like him as well.
And it would be tough to see him go, to be honest. But you've got to look forward. The club's got to start looking forward. We've done quite well. I know we're going to talk about transfer window, but we've done quite well in the transfer window up to this point of getting rid of Deadwood and some of the stuff that we didn't even think we were going to get rid of. So we're heading in that direction, aren't we? So hopefully,
two of your strikers are over 30 as well. So you've got to be like, I mean, you've already got Aubameyang on lots of money anyway. I don't know if it's worth Lacazette getting a new contract. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think personally, again, I like Laka. He is a player I like. He has that understanding and link up with the young players, which is really good to see. I just think he's been too inconsistent, I think, to warrant, a big commitment for us. At a push.
Noise. and he's going to want the money, isn't he?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the thing. He's going to look at Aubameyang and think, he's that age, and he's got that contract. I want that. I want a similar amount. Not to say he's going to get nearer, but he's going to want more money.
Yeah, especially
you're tied down, aren't you?
At his age now, he's saying, "Look, I'm probably giving you my kind of last couple of seasons, so this is my last chance of a payday." So, I guess his argument would be, if there's any potential suitors, he's saying to himself, "Well, look, if I go to, I've seen Real Madrid, I've seen Atletico Madrid. Now, I don't know how realistic either of those teams are, but say, for example, if one of them came in, his argument to Arsenal is probably, look, they're giving me X amount, either match it or I'm gone, and I think we've been burned too many times in the past with the older guys and the big contracts. So personally, if we got, I would even take 20, 25 million just given his age, just to reinvest again, because I just don't think it's worth, unless we could tie him down maybe an extra season. If he's looking for maybe 2 or 3, I think I'll just take the money and run.
Yeah, I think it's looking at what potential targets as well, isn't it? Who you're going to look at bringing in as well. That's what it's going to come down to. If you are going to get rid of Laka and keep Nketiah, for example, then you need to know that Nketiah is going to be the lad to take you forward. If not, who do you bring in? That's going to be the toughest one, I think. Who do you bring in to replace Laka? That's a younger age, and you've got the money to do it.
Exactly.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, it is.
The first time you've ever said that, Russ.
Don't get used to
it. Thanks, mate.
I'm joking.
Hey, look, we might get lucky though. You never know. I see people's argument when it comes to Eddie Nketiah. I completely understand. People being critical of certain parts of his game. Just part of me is still saying he's only he's 20, 21. I still hope that he can develop into something more than what he is now. Now, again, I think he's only going to do that by getting minutes on the pitch. I don't think we can really afford to, hang about and give him the minutes on the pitch. I think we need something now. We're chasing. I like to think we're chasing Champions League qualification. Do you know what I mean? So if that's our realistic target, we can't afford to be, hanging on and waiting for these guys to develop. He needs to go out and do a bit of time elsewhere. You never know. You never know. He might turn into something. But like that, if he can show us something over the next season or two, if Balogun commits, we hopefully will be in a nice situation where we have 2 ready-made guys for when, Lacazette and Aubameyang do step out the door. But it's a waiting game. It's hard though. It's hard because it's you want to think these guys are going to make it. As I said earlier, not everybody can. Sometimes you have to play these guys long enough to up their value, and then it's time to ship them out the door.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, but look, the transfer window at the moment, I'm happy enough at the moment with the business we've done, especially with the players we've got rid of. We've cleared some serious money off the books. We've got Kolasinac is gone at the moment. Matt Macy, not that he was there. Did you know Matt Macy was 26, by the way?
I knew he was getting. He's been at Arsenal a long time.
I'm not going
to. I still thought he was a youngster.
I was the exact same. I know his name years, but I was thinking, he must be about 19, 20 at this stage. And I found out he's 26, and I'm going, Jesus, like here we are slating Runerson, saying that Runerson's awful, yeah.
This is the same thing with like Martinez, though, wasn't it? It's almost like that. They've been in the club so long,
yeah,
they've forgotten that they've, they don't live in Neverland.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Lost Boys.
No, that one took me by surprise though when I found out his age. But look, Socrates is gone. Saliba's out on loan, and the big one, Ozil is gone. We got Matt Ryan in. Odegaard officially announced today what we kind of all knew for a couple of weeks now. but it's official today. And then we've a guy gone into the under-23s, Omar Rekic, I don't know how you say it.
Yeah.
Our business looks pretty good, kind of smart business. We're not overcommitting. We're not signing players, tying them down to long-term deals. We're going for the 6-month loan option just to kind of fill a gap, which I think is smart. Would you like to see, more? Obviously, we all want to see more additions, but what are you looking for? Are you happy enough with the business we've done? Do you think we need more in, more out?
What's the date?
We're getting close.
So we've literally got what? 4 days. Is it 31st that it shuts? Or has it changed again?
Geez, I'm actually not.
I'm not sure.
Because
that's the most important one there now. With Ozil gone, who is paying Gunnar Soros?
he said he would even when he left. Oh, no, he didn't. He said as long as he's at Arsenal, didn't he?
Yeah, so Gunnar Soros back on furlough then, isn't he?
What about Bertrand? He'd be a player you'd rate short term?
Yeah, any of left back really. Bertrand, I don't know. He'll probably want to play first team football. At his age, I think he's 31, is he? He's not going to want to play second fiddle to anyone. I think he'd probably better off getting a younger lad.
Yeah. I think there's a few people who have mentioned the young lad at Crystal Palace, haven't they?
Mitchell.
Yeah, he's only on 6 months left of his deal.
So he could be a potential summer snatch, couldn't he? Really? Well, I don't know. It's a strange one, really. I was really chuffed that we got Matt Ryan. To be perfectly honest, I think that's a really good bit of business for a 6-month deal, and he's an Arsenal fan, so there's the passion in there as well, which is a bonus. Yes, whether Arsenal actually shift into gear to get something done in 4 days' time, I don't know, because it's Arsenal. You never know, do you?
Yeah.
But we'll see. Even if I got, for example, another 6-month deal just to cover, like you were saying, they're doing the necessary rather than panic. So,
look, I'd like to think that they're doing their bit of homework behind the scenes, and I'm sure they have an eye more on the summer. So, like that, if they can bring in a couple of stopgap players, short-term deals, just to fill a gap, just someone who's capable of stepping in if and when we need them. Like we know who our stronger players are. No matter who comes in, they're not taking Kieran Tierney's spot at left back. So the likes of that, if we have someone to come in just to add a body, if and when we need a bit of rotation. But I'm happy enough with the business. But with Odegaard come in, is do you reckon the Buendia deal that's dead in the water now?
I'd say so. Yeah, they put us sort of play the same position, don't they? So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that was ever going to get done during this window. Basuma, no big transfers are going to get done in January. It's just too difficult. Brighton are fighting for their lives, and Norwich are trying to fight to get back in the Premiership. So, no, neither of those deals were ever going to get done.
Yeah, I think the Odegaard. I think it's probably, again, the more clever option. Like when I thought the money was crazy. When I first heard the story, I heard 14 million, and I said, that's not a bad deal. He's a decent player at that money. And then within a week, it had jumped up to 40 to 50 million, and I was saying, hang on, it's a little bit much now.
No.
Yeah, like I like the Odegaard deal because, one, it's risk free. You almost get him in on like a 6-month trial, you could call it. The money we're spending, it's not anything too crazy. 2.5 million or thereabouts, 38 grand a week. And if it goes well, that 40 or 50 million you were possibly going to commit to someone like Buendia. Why not spend it on a guy who's been at the club, knows the style of play, won't have to adjust, meet new teammates, settle into a side. I think it's clever, and it's not often I say this about Arsenal's transfer dealings, but I think we're actually starting to get a bit clued in here. But this is probably the controversial part. Like, do you think this is the new outlook is down to maybe Raul Sanyehi being gone?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he was using his little black book of contacts, wasn't he? And yeah, it was just him and his agents were just lining, him and his agent mates were lining their pockets. So yeah, I mean, they sort of got rid of all the scouts as well, which I thought was absolutely crazy. But yeah, we just need to go down the route. We need to find younger players. We need to buy players with resale value, and yeah, we just need to do what Liverpool were doing, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Buy a player for like 10 million and sell them for 50.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, well, look, hopefully by the summer we should be, kind of, well ahead with.
I think the summer will be better.
Yeah, definitely. We should have more money to spend. We're definitely going to have to bring players in because we're going to have a lot more going out the door. You probably got Mustafi. He's definitely gone out the door. David Luiz. It's so hard to know David Luiz. It's so hard because
he'll probably get another 1-year contract.
Yeah. He's another player now. Okay, look, maybe I'm being a bit harsh on him because I thought he was dog shit last night. He really was. I thought he tried everything in his power to help Southampton win that game or get out of it last night. He was literally probably the one player on the pitch I could fault. He's just, I know he's a bit older, but there's just something about he's just so casual. Like a couple of them passes last night, you were saying, okay, look, I could forgive you if we were 4-0 up and you start doing these things, but
yeah.
Well, no, it was the bit in the box, wasn't it? When
yeah,
Holding got back to basically prevent a goal. Basically, got in there. Then David Luiz just kind of stepped over the ball to kind of leave it.
Yeah.
And Leno was like having a proper go afterwards. And I thought, well, a guy that's 33 can't be doing that. Do you know what I mean? He's been in the Prem for ages. You've got to sort it out.
That's the type of thing. If you have a young centre back, like say William Saliba does that, that's the type of thing he does, and the senior players pull him up on it, and you never see him do that again. So for someone like David Luiz with all the experience, like he's crazy, but it wouldn't surprise me if he survives again. I don't know whether could you make an argument that he's supposed to be good around the dressing room. Like is he valuable to hang on to for that kind of a thing? Again, he's supposed to be kind of similar to a Xhaka kind of character, that he's a bit of a leader. I don't know, is it worth the risk?
If he's like that, I'd rather make him a coach. Let him be a coach.
Yeah, just let him be a coach. Yeah,
and
I know what you mean.
Not be a clown on the pitch.
Lads, I've got to go because I've got a few bits to do. Somebody's asking me to do something.
No worries.
But yeah, it's really nice to speak to you, Tony. Oh, Anthony, Tony.
Yeah, look, I especially after this, I'll probably get called all sorts. So
don't worry. And Joel, nice to speak to you too, mate. And I'll probably speak to you another day. But yeah, thanks very much for inviting me on, Tony. So yeah,
anytime. Thanks for coming on, Russ.
No worries, guys. Take care. I'll speak to you later.
See you later.
Bye.
Take care.
Yeah, so Joe, look, just before we wrap it up, United are 2-1 down.
Good.
Are we more confident now looking at the weekend?
Well, mad as I am, I'm generally quite a positive person, which kind of rattles the rest of them. Yeah, I was quite positive after yesterday's game, to be honest, because I think it was a big switch up after the FA Cup game. I know we had different people playing, but it's a real positive shift because we could have had more. I'm positive going into the game, and as they're losing as well, I think it's a bonus, really. But like I say, results going into a fixture like that, it's like going into a London derby, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
Anything can happen. But you're going to ask for a prediction. I know it.
Sure, look, you might as well. Since you brought it up, you might as well.
You can go first.
Look, again, I'm gonna stick with. I got to be confident. To be honest, when we started our kind of run of games, I'd say we were about maybe 3, 4 games into our good run of games. I had my eye on the United fixture, and I was saying, you know what, we beat them when we weren't playing particularly
I
well.
fancy it.
Yeah, so it was like if we can get a run going, if we can get a bit of a system going, I don't see why not. Now
Yeah,
again, I wasn't expecting them to maintain their run, which looks like it's about to come to an end tonight, hopefully. But yeah, no, I'm gonna say now that we know how to score goals again,
you're delaying it.
I'm gonna say 2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. Mad thing is, I said 2-1 for last night's game. Just because I thought it was going to be one of those. Yeah, Ender, I think that's not a bad shout, It's not a bad shout. You think they've conceded 2 tonight.
Yeah.
So there's goals there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, look, they're not that convincing at the back. Like, as well as the.
I'm going to go with Ender. I'm going to go with Ender, I think.
You're going to go 3-1?
I'm going to go 3-1, I think.
3-1. Yeah, hey, look.
Your girlfriend might have a different.
Yeah. I'm. It's gone very quiet in the room next to me, so I might not go in and ask for a prediction for a while.
You're sharpening a knife.
I'm asking for trouble. Yeah, that's going to be a fun day in this household. But yes, look, I'll wrap it up there because I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Honestly, mate, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, look, it's been a bit of fun. It's one of those where, as I said, this is the first time kind of really doing this, so you'll all have to bear with me. I'm very, very new to this, but no, look, I really appreciate you coming on, yourself and Russ, and like I said, there's a lot of people there in the chat. So big shout out to everyone in the chat that took the time to come on, throw us a few questions. And anytime I've done this, you get you see the same faces popping up, always giving support. Gary, Ray, Enda, and that, and more. So I really do appreciate everyone, and especially yourself, Joel. Big shout out. You welcomed me in and introduced me to the Arsenal family. So I really do appreciate it. So look, I'll definitely get you back on again. If you're happy to come back on, of course.
Yeah, no problem at all, mate, honestly.
Yes.
Great.
Hopefully after the United game, we'll be on and hopefully discussing a good win.
Hopefully you'll still be alive, mate.
Yeah. I might be on, but you see,
I might be running the channel.
Oh yeah, I'll leave it there. So again, look, thanks very much for coming on. Thanks to Russ and everyone in the chats. Big shout out to yourselves. So if you can, give the video a like, go onto the YouTube channel, give us a subscribe, and Joel, give yourself a shout out there. Let the people know where they can give you a follow.
Yeah, I'm Mr. G86 on Twitter. So I'm always about putting something on there. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, so thanks very much, lads. We'll see you all later. So come on, you Gunners.
Yes.